Now that the traffic light system is working correctly, so that is the main feature of the project, we are going now to add a class for a potentiometer. So then we can use that potentiometer to modify the brightness of the LEDs in the traffic light class. So here, once again, I'm going to go here and click on New tab, and I'm going to name it potentiometer like this, .h. So one header file, and then New tab, potentiometer.cpp. So I have a new file cpp and a new file for the header. And well, as you will see, the potentiometer class is quite easy to write. Okay, there are not so many things actually. We just want to initialize the pin, which actually we don't need to do because this is an input pin. This is an analog input pin automatically done for you with Arduino. And we just want to get the value from the potentiometer. So let's start, and let's of course start with the header guard. So if and def, let's say potentiometer dot, so underscore h, define potentiometer h and diff, and then inside this I'm going to do class potentiometer, add a semicolon at the end. I'm also going to add directly include Arduino.h because we are going to use the analog read function, okay, and the byte data type, which are specific to Arduino. And now let's put private public. So I'm going to go a little bit faster because we've already done that quite a few times, okay, with the LED and with also the push button and all the other classes. So a potentiometer, what do we need to use for the attribute? Well, that is pretty simple. We need byte pin, just like we did with the LED and the push button. Okay, we need to store the pin for the potentiometer. And then for the public method, so first we have the constructor. So potentiometer, let's add a default constructor, do not use, and let's add potentiometer, a constructor where we give the pin number. So that one I implement it with an empty code, and this one I add a semicolon. So that is basically a prototype that I will need to define and implement in the CPP file. And now that we are still here, I'm going to add another method here, int get value. Because the potentiometer, when you read the value, you are going to get a value between 0 and 1024. So with get value, you directly get the value from the potentiometer. So we have the constructor and then directly get value. So that's very simple. And our header file seems to be complete now. So let's go to the CPP file and include the header file, potentiometer.h. And then add the, so I'm going to just copy this, okay, and remove indentation here, and just add the class name in front of the different methods like this, remove semicolon, okay, add a curly bracket, so now we can define the functions. So in the constructor, I'm going to do this pin is equal to pin, so nothing new for now. And in the get value, so I don't need to add an init function here in between, because as I told you, the analog pins are actually by default analog input pins. So unless you want to use them as digital pins, that's something you can do. Well, you don't need to do anything here. So we don't need an init method. We can just do get value, and we are going to get the value from the potentiometer. And I'm going to do return analog read pin. And this will give us a value between 0 and 1024. And as you can see here with this class, we abstract this functionality. So we just use get value, and we don't need to think about analog read or whatever hardware function. Okay, with this interface, we don't need to interact directly with the Arduino functionality. One improvement that you could do is to get values with different ranges. For example, what do I mean? You could want to say, I want a percentage between, so of course between 0 and 1 or between 0 and 100. So you could divide the value that you get here by 1024, make it as a double variable, for example, and return the value so that you directly get a percentage. But here we are not going to use the percentage, so I'm not going to implement it. Just do that if you want to. And now that the potentiometer class is finished, let's try it. Let's just try it in the main file. So then if it's working correctly, we can use it in the traffic light class. So I am going to include it here. So let's just include it there. The order doesn't really matter. Okay, include the header file. Let's add another define here, define potentiometer pin, which is on pin A0. Okay, and now I'm going to add the potentiometer. Let's add it at the top here. Potentiometer, let's call it potentiometer. And I need to give, so let's go back to the header file. I need to give the pin number. So let's give the pin number, which is here. Okay, nothing changes for the rest. And what I'm going to do simply is, so I don't need to do anything in the setup for the potentiometer. What I'm going to do is in the loop, I'm going to do serial.println potentiometer.get value. Okay, just let's comment this. Okay, so we just test the potentiometer for now, and then I'm going to come back to this code when we include the potentiometer functionality in the traffic light. And so let's do serial.begin. And now I'm going to add also small delay 100. Okay, let's first make the code compile. See if we have any error. Okay, seems good. So now I am going to upload the code to the Arduino. Okay, done uploading, and I'm going to open the serial monitor here, and you can see I have the value 835. So now I'm going to modify, I'm going to move here the potentiometer, and you can see I can go down to 0. And I can go up to 1023. So this is working correctly, okay? So with this test, we made sure that the potentiometer is working correctly, and our class for the potentiometer is also good.